Hey, what's up, everybody? Ray here. Gonna be doing some more Finder into the Notorious matchup, France 6. For it, let's do a not so um, good board for Finder in general, which is board H, but honestly, a pretty good board for Finder into France because we're using control. Start off with the Sands Explorer. We get the Explorers already in our disease land, so that means we have to put them somewhere else. Usually I like to put them into the inland townland or the beast land, but you know, 4 comes up next turn. It's 3 is a kill pressure. This board has kill pressure on these mountains over here, so I'm actually gonna just like take the extra town on that wetlands inland and deal with that in the future. So can't really do too much. I'm just looking at all the plays that I can make for a quick second. While our plays are going to be, of course, Top Track, Cirque, and Paths Tide. It's the best way to play Finder, especially solo. Even outside of solo, it's the strongest way to play Finder, in my opinion. Because it presents the most flexibility. I think the only important thing here with our presence is to get range into 7. We can actually do something kind of funny. So just thinking about the next Explore still, I'm thinking about our next play, pre-dedicating Offer Passage and Traveler's Boon to the next play, which means we have potentially a push 4 invaders, 4 pieces of plastic. So this would be 2+1, inlands with 4. What that combines with on the first turn is Paths Tied by Nature. So if anything explores here, 6... or I should say, if wetlands or jungles explore here, I can use Paths Tide to put them into the other land with invaders, for example. And then I can do our left and 8, which is half push +1. So what this means is getting 3 invaders out, and Traveler's Boon gets us the 4th one out in that situation. I think that may make me want to move that Explorer out of 7 and potentially into 4, because there's no real good answer. But I can destroy some towns by pushing them into 8 from the land 1 or land 7, and then using Offer Passage to destroy 2 towns next turn, even though I'm taking a Blight for it right now. To get value from our turn 1 left push, I can move the city out. Now, we don't want to push the city into land 1 because the thing I just talked about, Finder's really good at certain magic numbers. 2, 3, 4 ahead of time if the land isn't building, but if the land's built... So you can go up to 5 if the land isn't building, but if the land is building, say jungle shows up, then we can only do 2, 3, 4, and then because of Solo Traveler's Boon, we can get the actual 4th piece out of there instead of just pushing 3 and making the land safe during like a ravage or something like that. So where to hedge? Yeah, I mean, being able to solve both the wetlands and the jungles here is, I think, really, really good. It would mean that I would need to do some sort of circ to get closer to here this turn into one of our lands. And I think I can do that. I mean, that's probably fine. I can get the 1 out of there. I don't really want to. do it that way, but I can certainly do it if jungles doesn't show up, and I can push the Dahan into 2 essentially, so it can kill that explorer and keep the town there. So it relieves a little bit of pressure if the coastal shows up from having a lot of explorers there. Now the other interesting thing I'm thinking about doing is moving the city somewhere to reduce the explorer count into future explorers. Mountains looks particularly bad, especially if I place the Explorer here, but the gamble is if Mountains doesn't come up, we do have the Beast to essentially take care of that for free. And we still have kind of our mountains here. You know, we can essentially move the city and an Explorer if it explores over into 4, and then push a bunch of those Explorers out so that they don't, you know, come up essentially. With the next turns left in 8. I'm gonna get use of our left in 8 here. And I'm gonna keep this on the coast. Because there's no real pressure. I just honestly want to reduce the explorer count in bad lands. Every other like land explorer we can kind of deal with here with the setup of the wetlands and the jungles. So I want to reduce how bad the mountains is if it's too many explorers to deal with. Too much plastic is bad for finders, so we want to reduce those numbers as well. Okay, jungles. So that's kind of a good and bad case, right? Yeah, so wetlands didn't show up, so we're gonna have to put that into the wetlands. It was just kind of a good leverage for if it did show up on turn 2, no longer good. And we're gonna do the solve that I suggested, which is getting these guys out of here, and then we can kind of solve that next turn pretty effectively. So by doing Cirque right now, you know, we can push this into 6. I mean, or we can just grow into there. It doesn't really matter. We do get the ability to essentially deal with these explorers next turn. The other fun thing we can do is draft. So a little bit interesting play is being able to draft instead, but I think I want to just reduce that town count. So I'm going to kind of burn travelers and offer passage. Our left and 8 at 2 deals with lands at 2 because it's half push plus 1. So we can kind of get rid of them. And then what this allows us to do is to maybe have a fancy play with travelers, but very strange. We'll have to make that up and lose tempo elsewhere. So this came up. So our next is going to be the mountains or... And I don't have a quick way to solve for these mountains. That's kind of the scary part. I think I'd do if I use aid and then ways, something like that. So let's keep the Dahan in 6. Let's get rid of the worst case scenario, which is this mountains. I don't have a good way to deal with that because we have aid from power speakers to push the double explorers in 6 out to 8, and then we'll put the 1 in 5. You know. For now, we have to find something for this jungles kind of ASAP. because we're putting all our eggs in this one basket right now. So we really want to draft. I think I want to form a sacred site. I don't need it, but it's okay. Nice, we got beast attack. And then we got this extra... good thing we didn't do sacred sites, so we don't have that Terror 1 nonsense. Strange Tales. Get the beast kill. And hopefully it's mountains next. We'd get really far ahead with the mountains because I'd be able to use aid from Spirit Speakers to transport those to 8. Or teleport those to 8, essentially. Clear those. Get rid of those towns. Town priority, of course. And we got the wetlands. Sweet. Let's put our Explorer... So we can put our Explorer in 1, but now we risk increasing regression because the Stage 2s have appeared. We can put them in 3 because we can just deal with that a little bit easily. But honestly, we just want to wait for that to come up in Stage 2s. We can put them in 4. It is a little bit risky, but we do get Beast Attack events, so... Coastal's not so great either. And then 5 is also not great because there's already a Blight there, and things are going to start to become a little bit more hectic around the map here. I think the best course of action is maybe just gamble on the beast, some beast damage or pushes or something like that. Maybe strifing in here. So we do get some a strife effect next turn for the Slave Rebellion, so we want to make sure to get a town into this 8. I think... And I don't want to mess with the coast stuff, so I'm gonna put it into 4 for now and just like hope beasts hit it a little bit. This time we can draft because we can get these guys out of here. We have a lot of towns, so we can afford to build, you know, one town here this turn, 5, and then work on that escalation. We do need something for 8, so we really want to just draft here to see what we can get. Maybe we don't have to deal with 6. Because our town count is okay, so, you know, think about it this way. It's going to be 2, 3, 4 with escalation. So 4 towns plus 1, 5 towns for a random add from an event. It means we still have that buffer of 1. So we can kind of afford to let this go, and then we'll get 1 back from the Slave Rebellion, as long as we have some kind of like nuke to deal with our issues or something. And then we can also solve this with aid next turn. So let's take a look at the majors. Flow is really good, as well as Stickets. Stickets kind of protects the land in the exact way that I want it to. Is just stopping those explorers. Flow kind of controls everything to the degree that I want it to, and it's fast. So... 2 and 2. Yeah, so even if this comes up again, Flow is going to allow me to pull those out of those into land 8, and then we can just kind of like draft again with that. So I'm going to take Flow. No synergy, so we're going to get rid of paths. If I get Flow, I synergistically can move it around. But this turn, I'm just going to do aid. Put all the eggs in the basket. Wow, that's really a NUMINOUS game. Gotta love NUMINOUS games, so you have to go bottom because there's no real choice to this event. If we're healthy, we go bottom. Oh, sorry, top. Draw strength. Healthy, we go top. Crazy amounts of energy. Yep. Mountains. Yeah, that's not fun. Mountains was not what we were looking for here. However, it is only going to be a town in 3, so it's not too bad. We can get the extra sun to get an extra push out of here by bringing these guys with us. And we can also save this land. Do have to lose a presence here, sadly. I placed it a little bit ambitiously. Gonna cost me. But I'll try to deal with everything else as best as I can. 2, 3, 4. So I do have 4 towns that I can just build with the escalation, everything in 4, and this. Can kind of just let that go, but and then we also get 1 back from the Slave Rebellion. I'm thinking I want to draft, and I'm gonna risk beast damage onto this 4, and take a blight later because it's a stage 2. If I can just let that go and then shove into there, it's a little bit better than front-loading our resources to kind of deal with that. I'm gonna draft. I really want a solution for 8. And I can stop this now if I get one. Ooh. A little bit spicy. I'm gonna take Weave. And forget Cirque. This is really interesting. I don't even know where to put it, honestly. I think I just want presence spread for now. I think we just want to get rid of the coastal threat. And I have to destroy one, so... Ooh, we get to destroy a town. Paladins don't have a blight. I think it'll be the most effective here. Han setup symbols. This does only get me 1 push out of there. kind of happy with how things are. Maybe I can use that. Jungles. Good hit. Explore there. I get to push 3 and remove 2 if I get... Oh, no, I can't remove 2. I do want this to blight. Keeping ways here. Not really do too much for me. I do get the draft, and we got a lot of that energy injection, so let's get another major. Ooh. Instruments is kind of crazy. And we do get the solve. Instruments takes care of this for me. Sounds funny, it's not the best pick. Pyro ends up being the best pick because I get rid of that threat over here. It's a fast way to get rid of that threat. And I get rid of a city with it, actually. I want to just take it. But city, getting rid of city is not kind of that important. Right now we have the issue of this land 5. This is kind of the problem with board H, where all these like blighted lands are kind of like right next to where I don't want them to be. And if we combine 3 and 4, then it's just one land, so it should just be one Ravage, right? Kind of lose a lot of the Han by doing that. But you know the strategy is actually weaving 5 with 8. and then pyroing it, and maybe it doesn't blight because I can choose it for it to be the sands for the pyro. Curious how that one works. And interesting thing, I don't need ways anymore because of that. Oh, that's so dumb. You'll build one town. Two towns. We get rid of one, and then we have one from the escalation. Okay. I think that's okay. Big risk. Because I just really want to get it to that mountains over there. But I also need to solve this land. So if I mean I can flow it. So I think it's not too bad. Let's prevent diaspora. And we get to isolate those two lands, and then jungles stage 2 came up. So coastal sands is the most likely. But if jungles comes up, that's kind of a nuisance. But we can kind of solve it with flow. Destroy one, sure thing. Don't need that one. Two towns, I can make it one town just by building another city. I think that's fine. This is adjacent. Got that defend. And got that extra defend. Oh. Pretty nice. Get our second blight. Jungle's build. Got city and conversion, so that's just one town instead of two towns. Save us a town there. And we got the sands, so good hit. Most likely to come up. So we'll play to that. Still got that town there though. And mountains is done. So I can just put one there. If it comes up, then I can use where's our discard? I can use aid to push 3 there if it comes up. So not a big deal if coastal shows up as our last power. Click here to divide the pieces. Don't really need to divide anything. I think we're Blighted Island, so some stuff, funny stuff happens in Blighted Island. So I'm just gonna leave that there. I'll leave all the rest of them there. Ah, that conversion makes things a little bit awkward, but we'll be able to figure out where to move those things as well. Funny enough, I don't really want to forget anything here. I just want to be able to move stuff. And that is pretty good as well as a hedge. Twilight also pretty good because it gives us another strife to deal with some of these cities, leftover cities. We can also just remove 2. We have 2 remaining, so with nothing building, we're doing pretty good. I think Call to ISO is a better hedge. Do want to move this presence out and kind of just get everything into here. So I'm going to use Flow and Travelers for that. But we need like 2 pushes essentially. Dang, that's a little bit awkward. We can just destroy that. Flow allows us to remove it, so I don't think it's too big of a deal. As long as I just isolate it this turn. I think we just play it the safe way. We have to isolate that to prevent that triangle trade. We're only down to 1 town, so that's going to be our escalation next turn. Hopefully no ads. We may get to remove it though. And then we need to find a way to do a lot of damage to these guys, which I think will be 6 damage. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. ASIM. Good hit. Get to destroy one more town. It's a nice buffer. Oh, I might have died actually without that because I was building 2 towns. Huh. Oops, didn't think about that one. Should have left one to die in the jungles. Because... yeah, I have to escalate. Or push one into the escalation so I can take a blight. Now is the tricky turn. But we get 4 card plays and a lot of movement. I think I want to get everything out as much as I can here. And we get half+1 here. If I just have another moon. So I need that. Seven. So we have to be a little bit creative here. We have to open the ways with this, be able to target that, and do that. And then we want to remove essentially cities. But first I have to push these guys into here. Then we have to do this. We kind of died to a counter, so. Oh, but I'll kill a bunch of them. This is threshold. Let's open that ways. Four, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Okay, so we need to move that. And then we need to use aid. Get all those guys out of there. And the 6 can destroy all of those. Now, should we target Pyro here, or should we target in here? And I'm thinking in here because there's still a Dahan in here. which kind of enables, the fear card to do something. Even if we have to push guys out of here with Diaspora. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to isolate this for Diaspora. I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point, right? Oh, there's 2 towns that are going to be built there, too. So I'll have to push them into there, too. Sacred Site damage would be really nice. Let's just get rid of that guy. Ooh, land not matching Ravage card. Kind of what we wanted to see. I can nuke all of that, so really just getting the Dahan in here. Yeah, we kill all of those with Pyro again next turn. And we have our 3 plays, so we're just reclaiming. So we just want to use Weave to get rid of these 2 and put kind of like the Han and everything. So let's get that guy. Okay. Just get everything moved. Okay, now what do we need to do? We can destroy this town. We can, strife this town. We can destroy all these towns. So then we just need to remove or do something about those cities. Which means we need Pyro, but we're short in energy. To use Pyro and Weave. So what I think is we need a Wetlands Ravage to kind of finish off and sacrifice everything. So let's just keep things like that. Have to be a little bit creative here in the end game still. Gonna do a minor, just so maybe we get a defend or something. No luck there. Maybe just forget Father. Do I have a plant? I don't have a plant, so I'll just take that as forget fodder. Let's do... We need flow. I think we want travelers too, to get the city into there. I don't think we need flow. Destroy. Oh, 2 strife on these guys. We do want to push that town into there. We really need pyro. So we need another earth. And... Okay. And then we need another air power. That's looking like travelers. Maybe flow. I think flow will get us what we want. We need that threshold. We want to bring some stuff. Isolate so no shenanigans happen. And then let's move a presence into here. We should have... We don't have left an 8. I'm gonna push the explorer out. Because that's interesting. I don't know if I'll get rid of it. I can only move those guys. That is really interesting. That I cannot pyro that. Kind of messed that up. Let's see what we can do instead to win this. No pyro. Still get the removal. Half push plus 1 can go into there. Yeah, I mean, this is as good as it gets. It has a sacred site in it too. I'm pretty happy with that. I guess the only other thing is I can push this guy into there. The Slave Rebellion. And then we're gonna just nuke those guys. Yep, so that's the story of how it goes. We just end up nuking those guys for the Blight and the Terra 2 victory. All of our Dahan into one spot creatively, and you know, sadly have to take that 3 Blight per player game after removing everything via NUMINOUS game. But still pretty good showcase. Yeah, Finder wants that energy, so I was a little bit greedy with those extra plays, and I probably could have just taken the energy there. Maybe. Not too certain, but France is really tight. Hopefully you enjoyed watching. Hopefully saw something interesting and some, you know, tactics to think about while playing through France with Finder. Peace.